in Rocket League as they hit the pitch against G2 and we're underway.
Well, I mean, look, these guys came up against each other day one in stage one, and it was a 3-2 series in favor of G2. Every single game was a 1-goal game except for one single 2-goal game that Peeps won. So it was a very close match the last time these two guys played, which was very recently. So I'd expect another very close series, honestly. When the stakes are even higher, I feel like the Peeps rise to the occasion. I think G2 is very consistent in the way they play, no matter what tournament they're playing in, at least the way that they approach it. And I feel like we might have another 5-game series here.
There's always something to be said about the playoff gear. There are just some teams that will never bring that same consistency to the regular play, but when it comes to the stakes, and when they're as high as you can put them, this man is at the center of everything the Peeps do on offense. Gyro, an incredible banger to begin.
It does feel like Gyro is the blood that courses through the Peeps' veins sometimes, and that's the type of shot, that's the type of start that a player like Gyro can give you, and it's so good to see Peeps start off on the right foot here, see how G2 responds.
Well, J-Naps, you flick it in reverse. Good luck stopping him. He got the 50 down over to Rizzo, back over to Chicago. J-Naps will quickly take a shot, and AJ wasn't able to grab it, but nobody from G2 was expecting him to not touch it. So Peeps got away with one there. Oh, this is what we're going to see a lot from G2. J-Naps, he didn't have a lot of boost on the play, so he was always going to give that ball up. But they go for those feints more often nowadays. They're just so in sync with each other. Being the longest standing roster in the RLCS, you certainly deserve to be able to, pull off these feint passes and these quick fakes. It's part of what makes G2 so deadly and the best counter-attacking team in North America.
A lot of people talk about the passing from G2, and that's absolutely one of the things that makes G2, but it's the amount of options that the players give each other that's so powerful as well. Options that maybe aren't even used half the time, but they're so good at staying together in an attack and staying on the same page that the man on the ball has multiple options in front of him, and that just helps you. That relieves so much stress as you move down the field. And it's why G2 has had so much success, is because they make each other better by giving each other quality options on the ball.
And we're seeing them really lock down the Peeps, who are struggling to find consistent clears. They've managed to find boost when they could on defense, but for the most part, this has been G2's ball, but they're stretched. And J-Naps got one save, got 2 saves. Get G2 out of that one. Peeps look scary for a second on that counterattack. They do retain their lead for now. G2 trying to make the Peeps show them everything that they have in the tank. And then maybe try to exploit them. Where can G2 find the Peeps exploits on defense? They've shown rarity here in the first 3 minutes. Oh, flip reset. Oh, J-Naps! Oh, comes down from the sky and pops it in your net. See you later.
And AJ is just dead in front of net there. It's so tough to read that when J-Naps comes off the ball, back to the ground, and then flicks it into the net. Tough to read as that last defender. I don't care who you are, and that's a tough one for the Peeps. They invited G2 into their half, and they've paid the price.
It was like where he got the bounce on his car when he landed on the ground, gave it enough forward momentum. Like usually, like when you're seeing J-Naps there, you're thinking, oh, that's going to pop off the top of his hood. So you expect a higher ball, not nearly as much velocity. Instead, J-Naps got the best of both worlds. Just enough velocity and just enough height to get the perfect shot with that, awkward area he had the ball bounce on his car. The small things. A game of pixels! And indeed, Chicago needed every pixel to score this next one.
Oh, it's such a tough touch from AJ. Goes straight out to Chicago. He takes it away. And then a bit of bullying in the net from Rizzo opens up the shot. G2 just like that, back in the lead.
The Peeps have really quieted down since that gyro splash play to start. And now he's behind the ball, but he hasn't had a lot of space to carry anything. And that's another double commit. Illusion on both of them last time, and G2 are just getting free looks. couldn't get anything on target there. There's a couple nice 50 wins for the Peeps. Illusion sends it up high, and
what a bump.
We'll put it in. The Peeps respond quickly with a little bit of
Gyro.
physicality.
It happened so fast, I didn't see which Peep player it was, but it was Gyro, or excuse me, AJ, who came through. And what a play from the Peeps to put that one away. Tie it up. You bump the last man out of place. And we talked about it yesterday, Joey, when the Peeps played Alpine. They didn't put up as many goals as you would have expected. They only put 6 in total in that series. It felt like a very slow and maybe more meticulous approach, but not the most fruitful approach from the Peeps. They need to put away goals against a team like G2 because you know G2 will break you down. They have a couple times, and the Peeps have to find the back of the net a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's something I think still to be said about matchups in Rocket League, and I do think that Rocket League is so much a matchup-dependent game. You'll just see some teams, they'll always play differently when it comes to a G2 or a space station, and I just think that's because they force you to be faster, and if you're not capable of being faster, they'll crush you. And that's been a difficulty for the Peeps in the back half of game 1, is that G2 have just taken away their options. The Peeps haven't been able to clear the ball. It's been a lot of that, sometimes a little fancier than that, but G2 for the most part midfield in the second half of this game has been theirs.
10 shots from G2 to the 5 of the Peeps. G2 certainly getting the better of the Peeps right now. The defense has held strong for the most part, but you definitely don't want to find yourself sitting on the goal line for the majority of an overtime.
Nice block to keep Rizzo away from that ball. That was another dangerous G2 ball, but Chicago delivers another, and Rizzo can't get to before Illusion knocks it away. Now AJ caught by Illusion. They got to get right over Chicago. Maybe not the perfect touch he wanted. Ooh. AJ had Gyro waiting for a quick pass. That would have been maybe not the play, though, because the first man from G2 was waiting. And maybe you see them pull off on a couple more of those passes because they're aware of how G2 are positioned. You don't want to just pass the ball for the sake of passing it. If a guy's there ready to intercept, you can put your third man in a really tough position that way. And that's the other part about G2 that's definitely frustrating right now, is when to take those chances, when to take those risks. Risk management, something that separates the good from the great in Rocket League.
Yeah, sometimes, especially a G2 fall victim to this, they sometimes get a bit too cute with the passing and sometimes ruin the attempt that they had if they had just maybe taken the shot earlier. But you have to be smart on the ball. You know, at this point, especially a pass-oriented team, players are so fast and so good at positioning that you really can't telegraph what you want to do with it. It just has to be so snappy as you move downfield. Here's Gyro looking for a second touch. The Peeps, pressure's on. Illusion shot goes high, and they remind G2 about what they can do on offense.
Another challenge will break G2's rotation. JNAP's forced to reset. The Peeps slowly gaining the ball more and more. And AJ sneaking closer and closer to the net. Illusion over to AJ, sneaks it through. The Peeps take the first.
Well, it's 13 shots from G2, but 8 from the Peeps finally break the defense of G2. JNAP's just too slow to the ball. It's a great pass out from Illusion to AJ, and game 1 goes to the Peeps.
And that was definitely as, you know, coin flippy as it got, Corelli. The first half, you're like, oh yeah, G2, this is vintage G2. They got the passes, the speed, the crazy touches. And then the Peeps come back with, you know, a methodical attack. AJ getting a couple of key 50s, touches to put pressure on. But Illusion, I thought, in that final 30 seconds of OT, Corelli was putting in those key touches that actually forced G2 to respond and wasn't just something they were already expecting. And that's what helped that last push and to find that last opening against G2 and OT.
And I think, you know, with players like Gyro and AJ on the Peep side of things, Illusion hasn't had his praises sung enough through this first split even for the Peeps. He has brought a great presence to this team, and it's becoming kind of his thing for this team, is these passing plays to set up his teammates for success. Surely he can hit the ball just as good as anyone else, but he has just been so good to keep the attack on for the Peeps, to create dangerous chances, set his teammates up for success. It's why the Peeps are so good. You have great weapons like AJ, but Illusion does a great job to keep things going.
Yeah, Lucian typically is the Peeps' most consistent player, and I do think he's underrated in that fact. But he's been prone to a couple of, or he's been a little jumpy rather, in midfield and on defense at times. And maybe he's already gotten it squared away in this game. But, you know, you have to, for the Peeps, you have to have a Lucian playing like a Lucian. He seems like he's fine for now, so maybe just a blip on the radar.
Oh,
Chicago will pitch the ball in somehow, some way. If Chicago and a 50-50 are in the opponent's box, 9 times out of 10,
oh man,
he just wins it and it's a goal.
I didn't think he had much of a chance at this, but he contorts himself perfectly to at least have the possibility of a second touch off that wall. JNap's going to get one off the kickoff. He cuts the first man, and in 40 seconds, G2 on top by 2.
This is usually how it goes for G2. When they score, they do it in bunches, and it's because of that quick, speedy kickoff game. JNap's just in the right spot, and the perfect kill on the kickoff as well from Chicago. So Chicago, big factor in both goals. Ooh, Gyro trying to kick him in front. And the Peeps would love a quick response to this. You don't want to let this 2-0 lead sit and stew for a while. Otherwise, it starts to get into your head. But with 3 goals, it all for a shorty is taking up tons of rent in the brain space of the Peeps.
And Gyro, just with no boost, just picked up the full canister, but couldn't get back in time. And I think picking up that boost is what got him so close. So it was the right play from him. I don't think he could have got back any faster. But the Peeps just caught out. And now a 3-goal lead opens up for G2, and that's terrifying for any team.
Starts to feel like every time they're behind the ball, they're about to score again. JNaps catches it, and, well, he can't get through, but you don't need to if you can keep the ball up. But Lucian finally gets a clear. And this is where the Peeps have to stop the blood gouge that's pouring out of their, or the oil, we'll say oil that's pouring out of their cars right now. There's a giant leak on the Peeps vehicles. And Chicago hitting a nice pass, forced in an own goal. You know, Chicago, king of getting the best own goals out of his opponents. This one, very nice.
And, you know, I don't blame Lucian going up for that one because there was a G2 player right behind him coming for the shot, but unfortunately not the clear. I think he won it, obviously. And 4 goals up is G2.
That's exactly what we expected, I think. The desk expected, maybe. You expected the Peeps to fight, but I don't think you expected G2 to put 12 shots on net and only come away with 2 goals, even against the Peeps, who historically, they don't have the greatest defense when in comparison to the field around them. But for G2's offense, this is exactly what you expect from them against almost any team that they play. Because it doesn't matter on the day, on the match, on the game, G2 find a way to score. And that's why they're one of the best teams in North America.
And G2 just create so many open nets for themselves. Rizzo got the demo on the player rotating from the left side. And unfortunately for the Peeps, they're going to have to endure a very rough game here against G2. Things have just fallen apart. G2 again threatening. JNap's doing whatever he wants, and for the Peeps, they've really got to go back to the drawing board. I know they got half a game left, but it just feels like G2 are all over them.
I don't know. Can they find a way back when JNap's is looking this clean? Such a all-around threat for G2 and the demo from Chicago. And even there, where Gyro actually gets a pick in midfield, everyone else in the Peeps were low on boost. Illusion just picked that up in midfield. AJ had to sit the whole way back. So when you're feeling that starvation, and you're basically giving G2 the entire length of the pitch, it's going to be really tough to do anything. So you're looking at game 3 and asking yourself what went well in game 1 and how things got off the rails so quickly, because in the first minute of this game were 3 G2 goals, and that just can't happen. You know, that kickoff goal is something that the Peeps can't let happen, to let G2 score in bunches. And, you know, all the credit to G2 for sure. Like, and we've given them all the credit. They've created these opportunities, but the Peeps are every bit as capable of being competitive in this set. I think it just shows to the strength of G2 with this particular game, because I feel like they do this more often than most teams, where they just come out with a stomp, Corelli.
And I think for the Peeps, when you talk about the issues here in this game, it's a little mix of everything, right? You go back to some of the goals where Gyro rotating around with no boost, so tough positioning, they got caught out, not enough boost to work with. You go back to some of the open goals. You can even work backwards from what we've seen the last few goals, where G2 have opened up space with demos. And again, might be because of low boost. Players aren't getting away from demos as easily. So for the Peeps, things have clearly fallen apart. You had a kickoff goal. You had a great shot from Chicago, a double tap, which I think you can give all the credit to. So for the Peeps, it is a mixed bag of issues here. And it's just, honestly, I think it's just a bad game for them. I think they're looking forward. I saw Gyro on a kickoff jump and flip upside down. So I think he's ready to just move on to the next game. And I don't blame him. You know, sometimes they're going to have a bad game. Unfortunate it comes against a team like G2, but this was clearly issue after issue for the Peeps. I think they look to go to a clean slate here in this next game.
And I might go out on a slight limb to say that if you told a team that they were going to lose a game, if it was close where, you know, you're at 100% focus the whole time as the Brazil comes into effect, and you're, you know, going full bore the whole time, you're trying to make sure every single read is perfect, you're aware of everything on the pitch, and that takes up a lot of mental energy. But if you end up losing the game anyway, getting smacked like this at least gives you about 2 extra minutes to think about how to get through this next time. Use this time in comms as an advantage to be like, look, this is where they're being successful against us. They're beating us on these quick passes, or Jnaps is just carrying the ball, and we don't have the boost to deal with it. So like, he gets to fall onto the ground in front of our own box and then just pop the ball up. And then the rest of G2 had plenty of time to get set. So it always starts with the boost game in Rocket League. So yeah, if they can start from there and be like, we just need better, you know, we need a better punch off of our kickoff. We need better positioning in that regard, and then maybe we can actually win that boost game a little more consistently. Because I do think if they get the boost a little more consistently, then they'll be more consistent and offensive against G2. But they weren't here, and basically for the Peeps, I think it's better for them mentally now to just reset. You know, the expectation was already the loss, and maybe game 4 can be a different outcome.
I mean, it really can't get much worse than this, Jorby. I'm not going to lie, for any team here for the Peeps. And I think we've really said it all here for them. It really does come down to getting to the next game. I think G2 got off to a quick start as well. This is an emotional team from the Peeps. We know that they are in a lot of these series and a lot of these games. And when you go down 2-3 quick goals like that, you really do get frustrated. This is a team that does get frustrated. So here they go. Okay, you got it out of your system. You got absolutely smacked here in this game 8-1, although I think probably the latter half of the 8 goals were Peeps just trying to move on. But you get to the next game. You have an opportunity now to really turn things around and really make a name for yourself, especially after that game 1 performance. I mean, that was a quality game from the Peeps in game 1. This one just got away from them. I think they got a bit demoralized. I think emotions got into it. People were frustrated. Here you go. You get a fresh game.
Yeah, if they're not stuck on defense the whole time, maybe they can find a way to get AJ more involved on offense. He did get 1 goal, but it came in garbage time. And, you know, I think that when the Peeps look the most dangerous, AJ is usually a big reason why. And it really shows you why this has to be a full team effort against G2. One player can't be feeling slack, can't be off their game against this team, because G2, they just exploit that. You have to be a three-player unit, everyone at 100%, and the Peeps looked for 100% in game 4. They got slapped. No easy way to say it, but here's a quick pass to start.
There you go.
Slowing it down off the crossbar, and that's been the enemy of AJ today. That's the 2nd or 3rd time now in his last few shots where he's hit the crossbar. Great demo.
Give some space for Gyro here, and all of a sudden Peeps are playing a lot faster. It's Gyro to put the first goal away. You get it out of your system in game 2, come alive in game 3.
Yep, Jnaps was demoed on the play. Rizzo was playing second man, so he had to turn tail, try to run. Chicago was still recovering from the last challenge, had no boost. So 1 demo is all it takes to throw the entire rotation out of whack. and just the relief that the Peeps needed to start. But this is the trouble with G2. If you can break that pass up like Illusion just did, then you're going to be feeling a little more comfortable when they start barreling down the pitch.
And G2 have to know that this is going to be a different Peeps than what they saw in that previous game. Peeps already coming out with the speed, already putting on a few shots. For G2, they got to be a bit more creative, got to step it up a little bit. They were able to kind of play around the last game. This is for real again. The Peeps are here to play.
This time letting it roll back to them. Gyro kicks it high. He actually gets a favorable touch. AJ demo and turns around onto it. Illusion was following him closely. He'll delay the advance, but he was sitting pretty close, and that's going to put some pressure now on the Peeps to get a few solid touches. But all Illusion needed was one challenge for AJ to put it in the back. G2 missed the read on the backboard.
And he had full boost as well going up for this, and it's a tough read, and it was a bit ahead of him as well. And he just barely misses the touch from Chicago there, and now 2 up go the Peeps.
You know, in that situation, you could even be asking yourself, well, he could have maybe slowed down just a little bit, but you think of the lack of information when if you're not sure about how much boost AJ has, and you know AJ was barreling down the field already, you feel like you're in a race. But JNaps, well, they cut a little closer to the Peeps with a quick goal. A little bit of physicality of their own.
And AJ got spun out by Rizzo, which is why that near post was wide open. It almost looked like everyone from the Peeps just left the net, but unfortunately, AJ literally got spun out so hard, he goes up the wall and back towards his own corner. That's how hard Rizzo had hit him.
Expect G2 to pull out all the stops if they need to get back in front of this one. They're definitely one of the more resilient teams in all of the RLCS, Europe or otherwise, or North America or otherwise, excuse me. They're always going to try to trip you up. Chicago back over to JNaps, and AJ ready off the backboard. Can't grab it against Rizzo. Wants to keep the press, but G2 losing some of the midfield on the boosts. JNaps has been really tough to get by. Rizzo making it more awkward, and the shot for JNaps is denied. AJ, well, on offense, while he hasn't had as much, although he is, the owner of a goal here off of Chicago's miss. On defense, he's been solid. Another 3 saves. He had 3 last game, but Chicago, well, the only time they could get through is when AJ's not there to save it, and G2 tie it up.
And another wide rotation here from Gyro. Again, picks up that pad or that canister as it spawns. Couldn't get back to the near post. That was a good shot from Chicago to put it up and over him. But G2 have forced 6 saves out of the Peeps here so far in this game. They've started to heat up with their shooting and being a lot more dangerous on offense.
Ooh. So for G2, Corelli, if it continues just to be this tick-tock, back and forth score once for each team, where do G2 start to target a specific area of the Peeps game? Is it a specific player, or is it something that the Peeps haven't really been the most consistent on? Illusion having to help AJ out on the backboard here. A lot of their passes have been thwarted, but what else can G2 do? We've seen the physical game be successful as well.
Yeah, the physical game has been very strong for them, but I think we've already seen a big bump here from Gyro. We've already seen what G2 have done or has done to break down the defense of the Peeps. It's been that boost game. The Peeps have struggled, and you're seeing a lot of players go up for the same ball that uses everyone's boost at the same time. G2 is relentless on the attack. You're seeing here again. One shot comes from the left side. Here comes Rizzo from the right side, and he makes it quite dangerous as well. And everyone from the Peeps is scrambling, and you can see G2 just waiting to see where Peeps are going to go for it. There's not even someone challenging Gyro initially, and G2 are there to swallow it up.
Chicago picks it right back up. JNaps was ready for a pass if he wanted it, and he comes back in, but he had to avoid that demo. It made it tough for him to cut in on that last touch. AJ completely cut out the option. Now he takes the ball, but no, can't stay behind it, and Gyro's going to have to make up for lost time. So the Peeps, the push died in midfield. AJ blocked one attempt. Rizzo keeps it close. Rizzo is flying all over the pitch right now for G2 in this final minute. really trying to stretch the Peeps laterally. Here he is again, sweeps by, and Gyro dives forward, but not before Chicago could get there. JNaps one touch. JNaps, no, it's blocked by Illusion, and Gyro coming in to keep the ball away. But AJ needs another, and he gets it. Time running out, and G2 continue to press. Here's one touch. JNaps has another, keeps it against Chicago, and the goal is good for G2! They press and finally crack the Peeps defense.
And it's exactly what G2 wants, slowly stretching out the defense and putting them in awkward situations. Gyro is nowhere to be found because he initially had gone so far before. And so it's just Illusion and AJ back, and G2 are just all over them with 10 seconds left, looking to carry out this Game 3 win.
Illusion had a look, he took a shot quickly, and it was saved. AJ, one more chance at it, and it's knocked down. And if a loss hurts, it definitely hurts the Peeps here. That's the kind of loss that is hard to come back from, but they have to, otherwise their tournament life is over.
And again, that last goal is the epitome of G2 for any defense. It's so hard to defend against that relentless type of pressure. When a team can put on so many shots and continue to keep possession, continue to make you awkward and put you in tough spots to defend and slowly whittle away that boost, that is a sign of a great offense. And that's exactly what G2 did, especially with that last goal.
I thought so many key touches did come from Rizzo in stopping a lot of Peeps counterattacks that would have put G2 in tough counterattack defense situations. But Rizzo, even if it was just to buy time in the attacking corners, it always felt unexpected by the Peeps. Like if you're looking at the Peeps cam, Rizzo flies in and the second man's like, oh no, I did not think he was going to challenge that right there. And so I think the Peeps are getting shocked by G2 on that final push that they had that ended up being so aggressive. So I don't know what the answer is for the Peeps right now. Some physical plays have worked for them, Corelli, but it's tough to get those bumps and demos, especially against a team like G2 that are so field aware, like one of the most consistently field aware teams out there. And catching them not looking is, you can't rely on it. Peeps need more creativity and more boosts to make it work.
Well, it's tough too when you don't have boosts. And I kind of alluded to it in that last game. We talked about it even earlier than that. But the Peeps have been boost starved, especially on defense, when multiple shots start coming through. Multiple players from the Peeps jump up after it. So it has to be a little bit more of a disciplined defense from the Peeps here in this game if they want to win.
You know, G2 get the ball out past midfield, and the Peeps are going for a lot of hard clears. They have mixed it up sometimes, but it does seem like they are favoring that hard clear out. They see G2 and that first man pushing forward a little bit, and you know the idea is if you can put a lot of pressure on the first man and not completely. Oh no! JNaps a little too much juice on the center, and that was a massive opportunity to catch the Peeps out.
Yeah, and he beat the Peeps. There was no one there. Here's Chicago's shot. Gyro has to turn it away. That's a huge miss from JNaps. That's not the easiest shot to score there, but still, he had the opportunity to do it.
And now the Peeps are starting to feel urgency on the last push. All three members were hanging around the midfield line. Illusion constantly wanting to get out of defense. The Peeps are so tired of playing on the blue half. They gotta be aware. You don't want to get caught creeping too far forward. Otherwise, you're gonna have a couple more acrobatic defensive stops. Gyro and Illusion, and another double like you talked about, Corelli. You give your team no chance for a follow-up against this team that is so good on the press. Even right there, AJ is forced onto the wall, but he's got Gyro on the wing, and the Peeps almost snuck it through, but Rizzo dove back for a quick save.
This is a great take from Gyro. Here comes Chicago to immediately put some more pressure on the Peeps. Teams trading blows still all knotted up here. No one's been able to break through in a much lower shooting game for both teams. 2 on the Peep side, 2 for G2, and now a third for Illusion, and almost able to put it away. Rizzo and JNaps have to turn this one away. Very close call for G2.
With a Peeps player, like, sitting there with the flamethrower, about to ignite them on the pitch, but both Rizzo and JNaps avoid it. and they're sitting right in front of each other. Stoicism on defense for G2. AJ looking for Gyro, but G2 are just faster. JNAPS, high ball to Chicago. The shot's on target.
Oh.
Almost put in, but Illusion had the save. Gyro bodies one player out of the way, but Rizzo stole the ball. Whew, little too much height for Chicago. And the Peeps are really starting to feel the stretch. Gyro's clear here is some much needed respite, as short as it will be.
Well, Illusion was sitting on that goal line with no boost that entire time. Even when he had made that save, he had 8 boosts going up for that one. And he was very happy to see JNAPS, I think it was, pinch that one across the net. He was going to be in a very tough situation. That's what we're talking about. That last man not having enough boost makes things so difficult for the Peeps. G2 have been able to expose them so many times in this game.
Despite that, there's really only been one chance, though, Corelli, that G2 failed on, and that was that JNAB's attempted pass in front of the box. Just too much juice in front of it, and Gyro activates bulldozer mode and says, forget it, I'm taking over.
Chicago just didn't get the read, and he actually, I think, own goals that one. It did come off it and puts it inside the net on the goal line, and unfortunately for him,
the bulldozer has collateral damage. We take it.
The Peeps will take it with them coming up on a minute left. They've been able to finally break the defense, no matter how pretty or beautiful it is, and here they are again.
Oh, AJ found the pass to Illusion. Before that last goal, I was going to say, despite, the Peeps being in a lot of low boost situations, they've managed well. Before this stint, they limited G2 to only 3 shots on net. And now they've forced G2 to stretch here if they want to win this match now and not go to a game 5. Something G2 fans are quite familiar with. Another shot. Oh, there it is. JNAPS on fire today and just keeps getting hotter.
It's a great pass from Chicago. Back out towards JNAPS. Look how much space he has to pick his shot. Saw the left side was open with that challenger from Illusion on his right. And a free shot for JNAPS to put on target. 30 seconds left and G2 back in it.
Gyro in front again. He's been trying to get creative behind the ball when he's had it, but G2 almost snuck that lead in. But AJ had to stay screening across. Oh, the diving stop by AJ again. He's been a defensive monster for the Peeps. Illusion can't grab the ball. Now he's got to get it out to the corner. G2 ready to end this right now. Pass from Chicago to Rizzo, denied. But here comes JNAPS, shoots it too wide. Gyro trying to keep it alive over time. Oh my goodness, the Peeps.
And I think the Peeps are happy to see this one go back to a kickoff after experiencing a flurry of shots. But Rizzo, he could end it all by himself. AJ clears it away, and G2 still poised to put on some good offense.
Oh, JNAPS tried to slow it down. And G2 start right where they left off on the kickoff. AJ attempted carry and Illusion. Well, the Peeps just can't keep the ball away from JNAPS. He had a chance to get that. Rizzo forces Gyro to stretch, takes out a player. That leaves the lane open, but Chicago shot with Rizzo. And G2 take down the Peeps.
Great demo from Rizzo, and then just recycles himself into the box. Saw the shot was going to go wide. The Peeps just didn't react in time. And Rizzo puts the Peeps to sleep here. My goodness, G2. What a way to do it as well. There's some huge score lines in this series, and they get to move on.
G2 ain't sleeping, especially Rizzo, who, if he got the dirty work done on the pitch and the challenges in the last game, he was definitely the hero on defense. And then at the last, helping Chicago shovel that ball into the net. Chicago had some misses. He had like 2 really bad misses. And other than that, G2 were so clean. I don't think JNAPS had a single misplay. And the dude's nuts, Corelli. They're all nuts. They're so fun to watch. And, who else other than G2 to go play Envy for a spot in the grand finals yet again? 9 times out of 10, we seem to get at least 3 out of 4 of these top teams in North America. But I'm excited to watch that semi for sure.
Oh, absolutely. That's going to be a great matchup. Space Station and KCP later on as well. So very high quality top 4 teams here in North America. Excited to see how it pans out.
Well, the Pioneers made waves a couple of weeks ago by running through the gauntlet of the top of North America. They're tasked with Space Station Gaming yet again. Can they continue their gauntlet run? Find out after the break.